no need. Hey. No, it's fine for me. I shouldn't have done that. So basically you're there, so just now. Yeah, technically, yes. I have the key, but I'm not sure it's streaming. Let me see right now. No. Yeah, but yes. Yeah, actually, it's streaming right now. Yeah. Yep. So just the Blue Links gave me the key a while ago. I just wasn't sure it will work. Like if I wasn't sure we'll have to enable something or not. But look like no. Just look like there is a bit of delay. That's why I wanted to have an access to the. And people are thinking I'm crazy because they cannot hear you. I was muting that soon. Okay, great. So there.
Nice. I'm impressed. Looks really good. And is it up on, just the other thing is, so the sound is off right now, right?
No, people can hear you right now.
Okay, and is it up on, just the other thing is, so the sound is off.
do we need to do anything to get this on YouTube?
It's already on and people can hear you right now.
So we're live already?
We are live already. Yeah, people can hear.
All right, let me close some windows on my thing. I'm going to also go to, let me post the link on Facebook, which is basically just our.
Let me close some windows on my thing. I'm gonna.
Latency, maybe a setting we'll have to change for the next live. There's something like 10 to 15 seconds between what we are saying and what people can hear.
Kevin, you're gonna push it to veracoin.info/live. I don't know how that's.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that now. I'm gonna go to YouTube, get the embed code, and then put that on the page.
Cool.
Trying.
I like the timer on there.
There's a fortunate foreground.
Does an add pressure key?
The moves to the bottom.
No, because we're ready.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you got music and everything this time. Pretty sweet, dude.
Yeah, this is pretty sweet setup.
All right, here I'm gonna embed it now.
And there is only background. Beneath me, I can feel.
I thought you with a higher sound like me, so.
Oh, you got my music on there.
Is it better, guys?
After all this time, can we be where you're not ashamed
page. And I'm just going to go to Facebook now and post.
From anywhere I was before, I feel like a desert fool amongst the
Yeah, we actually are on top of things. Good job.
now only
It's a big difference. I'm normally like struggling to figure out what button to hit.
This is a nice setup.
and into this world I will find. You're not ashamed, and I'm not the same. We are one you stood by.
That Sting?
You're not
You
ashamed.
have a very voice, I think, similar to Sting in a way.
I've heard that before, yeah. People have said that. I never really, I mean, everyone knows Sting, but he wasn't like an influence or anything. I mean, he's good.
I won't give it all to you.
Oh, shit.
Probably just like Northern European white dude singing like rockish stuff.
I offer this to you. You hear me say, you're not ashamed, and I'm not the
So
same.
we are 5 minutes ahead of time.
You're not ashamed, and I'm not the same.
All right, what I'll do is I'll follow the chat on YouTube. And Matthew, can you send me those questions again? I know they were in Slack, or send me the link to the
Yeah,
form.
for sure I can. Wait, let me.
All right.
By the way, I can hear you have the video in the back. Is my voice fine and people can hear me well or not? 'Cause
I hear you fine.
Okay, because I saw some people saying my voice was a bit distant. It's because I put it low, still very low for Matt. Okay, let me see. How about now, guys?
Sounds good.
I don't know why the metadata on the link on Facebook was still on last week's. I changed the information. Not last week's, but the one from a few weeks ago. Okay, I posted something at least on Facebook for us. Has anyone put anything on Twitter?
I put
No.
on my Twitter. I put that we are live with the link, but not on the.
Do you want me to put the Vericoin.info on Twitter, Kevin? Like the Vericoin.info/live or the direct YouTube link?
Put the direct YouTube link, just because I'm not sure if the thumbnail image is showing May 8th. It shouldn't
Okay.
be.
Okay.
I'm going to post on my own right now and see how it looks.
Okay, I'll do Vericoin and Varian right now.
Yeah, okay, this is right on. It was right on. All right, I'm gonna start closing all these things. I'll keep YouTube open.
Yeah, for me, I keep most of the stuff closed because my laptop else will just burn. So hi Sito. Because I forgot to do a little thing on your camera. The blue links and you are a bit blue. Okay, better. Hi Daniel.
All right. Are you guys ready?
I think we are, yeah.
Yep, ready.
So you want to go ahead and start this then?
Who's you?
Well, I'm saying, okay, we're ready. All right, everyone. I'm gonna keep. This is Kevin. I'm Kevin Alvarez. I'm with Doug Pike, aka EffectstoCause, and Mderasse, who's been kicking ass in development in the last 2 months, it seems. So we're gonna do a live hangout again. We've been doing these pretty consistently for the last 3 months, and it's, I think, a good thing. We're gonna try to keep this one to 45 minutes, but we do have a lot to go over. So without further ado, I'm gonna turn it over to Mderasse to explain. I guess you want to start with what's happening with your progress with Barium.
Okay, so hi guys, so I'm Mderasse. I've been working lately on the Varium, but for the singer side. So basically, about the Varium, my goal is to launch a release in 0.9, based on the Bitcoin 0.19, so the current Bitcoin version. So during the last few weeks and yeah, just after we did the last very live, I was able to implement all the blockchain system in the Bitcoin Core 0.19. So right now, mainly all the backend, so all the back of the software of the wallet is ready. There's few optimization to do, but we are progressing pretty well. And I'm working on the implementation of the user interface to try to have something a bit better, and based on a few screenshots that you might have seen on the Slack if you're on it. Progress is going well, and after a few talk with EffectstoCause, I think we could do a release in June.
On the user interface side of things, how can people help with that, or are we at a point where it doesn't make sense? I mean, what if there are any ways for people to help? Can you maybe share what you would like, whether it be design layouts or anything?
So right now we already have a few design that I'm implementing, but that design is missing some part, or sometimes the color is not quite right. So what I'm doing is I'm putting on Twitter and on Slack, Telegram, Discord, some screenshots from time to time. Mainly the help I need from the community on that is their advice, and just we need to work on it as a community here, and so everybody should have to share their feeling, and like that will progress and go in the direction that the community want, and I think that will be the best.
Okay.
What about like icons and stuff, Mderasse? Do you need? So remember when we did the last version of the UI? It's there's a bunch of icons obviously, but then there's a bunch of places where the icons are like duplicated. Like if you want to send coins, there will be a send tab, and then there'll be a little send button and send tab, and then maybe in the menus there might be some. Or in the RPC, you might want to have the send icon as well, and things like this. Is there? I mean, previously when I did it, I would just kind of like gather up whatever icons, open source icons I could find that looked pretty good. But do you need help from the community or anyone with graphic skills to prepare like a complete set of icons that are, well designed for the wallet, etc.?
So right now I'm trying to find some icon based on what we have on the design. But yeah, for sure, if there is anyone that is good at design, please raise your hand and contact me on Slack, on Twitter, wherever you want. I'm a developer and I'm not that good at design.
Yeah, so if anybody, I think basically if you look at the screenshots that we're basing the UI off of, which was done last year or whatever by some UI designers that were working with us, we can repost those again so they're not buried. But we're using that as a template. I also talked with Very Mad about. I think at some point I had the links, but I can't find the links to the code. They wrote some code and they have some files, some image files. I'm coordinating with Very Mad to get some of that stuff from a while back, but because we're finally at this point. But but in any case, it doesn't have to be those icons, but those had a nice continuous look to it. But if anyone wants to step up and deliver a uniform set of nice icons that could be used in the wallet, that could be great. And then also there's a few splash screens, or actually Mderasse already did the splash screen. It looks really good, but there's a few menu screens, like the about menu. We also want to have like a login menu. On the previous versions, we had some imagery there, and we might need help. I mean, we would benefit from help from the community if there's people that can do design well for these types of things also, which are kind of key elements, especially for the new user. The first time they open up a wallet, they see this screen. It asks them to generate a password, or in this case, it presents their 15-word mnemonic. We want that screen to really be appealing.
And then the way these icons are, what kind of files is that? Like could you use like SVG files, or?
You can pretty much use whatever you want. I think. I mean, I think I was using PNGs previously.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
No, sure. Transparent PNG or SVG files are a way too that they can always scale bigger, and They're
Yeah.
kind of like a vector file, but they're not. They're small in size. So
Yeah.
the other thing too, I would say, is the color scheme of the wallet as well. Maybe somebody that we can, but I don't think we have to deviate far from the branding that we have. I mean, we're
Yeah.
one of the things I wanted to touch on. I think we want to touch on this today is the idea of Vereconomy. We're getting closer and closer to binary chain, and this project has always been unique in a good way, but also very challenging in a way with regards to like marketing it. And it's always been difficult marketing because it is so different, and you have
More than one thing.
yeah, you have more than one thing. So there's a lot of people that come into this because they're into CPU mining and they're big into Varium, and Vericoin's like this other thing. And then there's other people who are more into the Vericoin thing, and Varium's just like, hey, whatever that. But really, we've got this true economy, and the two. I don't say they're not separate projects, but the two coins, the currency and the reserve, go together to make something truly unique. And when it comes to like Twitter, and we've got to do a post, it's like, well, we want to post it on the Vericoin Twitter account and the Varium Twitter account. It's always been this kind of very clunky thing. And so a couple of years ago, we started the idea of, if we were to try to combine the two into one project name, what would that be? You're always going to have Vericoin itself and Varium itself. They are independent, and Doug, you can probably elaborate on that in terms of the importance of that. But as a project, Vereconomy is what we ended up going with, and we had put together some logo concepts. A couple, we never really pushed it because I felt doing any kind of rebranding, and we're not really doing a rebranding, but putting that out needs to be done with good care in terms of how we put out. But we had a logo that I think everyone kind of liked. And then Doug fine-tuned it just a little bit, little small changes, but it made a big difference in the way it turned out. So we'll be putting, I think, that out shortly. So, what I would say to the community and those that are, promoting it, to start using like the Vereconomy hashtag and using that wording along with Vericoin and Varium too, just so people understand that these are tied together, and the big picture is called Vereconomy. So, go ahead.
I'll mute myself and follow up on that. I think also like what is cool about merging this for messaging and marketing, but also for the infrastructure of the project, where the Vereconomy. So, I mean, when you launch a coin, it's effectively centralized. There's very few people that are mining or staking. There's one or two people that make a website and release the code and do the things, blah blah blah. And then if you survive that through that initial period, you actually can become more and more decentralized over time. And that's actually the trajectory that we've been on. And I think that the Vereconomy concept, but also the infrastructure can go along with that, where like now Mderasse is setting up where the Twitter accounts can be controlled via API commands through a set of Twitter users, and not just like, Will controls the Vericoin Twitter and I control the Varium one, or whatever combination of things like that, where we literally build, we kind of we're almost like I feel like I'm staying in the project, but I'm also handing off the project to the decentralized infrastructure that will be called the Vereconomy. And then I'm more a participant, an active participant in that economy, rather than the lead developer or the creator or whatever, and we make the project what it was always intended to be through this as well. And I actually think that like we code named the wallet that would, which would really, it's really going to be more than a wallet, but subsequent to the Vericoin and Varium releases we're working on right now, we code named a wallet that would access both chains at the same time as Gemini, because it would access both chains. But I think, I mean, people can agree with this or not, but I think it makes sense to have that wallet also called the Vereconomy wallet or the Vereconomy application. So you have the standalone Vericoin and Varium applications for pools, for stakers, for whatever people want. But then the average user, again, is going to have this one concept focused on the economy that surrounds these technologies, and using an application that represents that economy and gives them access to features that utilize both chains or shared databases, et cetera, all the things that we've discussed over the years about this. So I think that, like Kevin said, it's not only better messaging for like just explaining the project to people, but it also, I think, is the infrastructurally the step that we're taking into a decentralized organization as well, like a more formally decentralized, complete, community organization.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's exciting. And I think a lot, everything that's been happening, like I said, the last couple months, a lot of progress. I know we had some questions come in, but before we get into the questions, do you want to give any, I know one of the other things we wanted to touch on today was relating to the potential of, or I guess the change in the fees. Are we ready to discuss that, or is that something that needs to be held back?
I think we can for sure talk about it. And Mderasse, if you have anything you want to add to this as well. Phyton and HG4R last year kind of designed some fee change options for Varium, because the fees were set sort of artificially high, partly to discriminate Vericoin and Varium and prevent cannibalization of one another when we were launching the coin. Because when I first mentioned the idea of a digital reserve currency pair, people were like, "Oh, he's abandoning Vericoin. He's making a new coin." So like part of the design was like to make sure that there was sufficient differentiation, and so partly the fees were raised artificially high for Varium because it's a reserve. We want it to be less of a currency and more of a store of value. And therefore it makes sense for the fees to be higher, because the miners can make more money with a lower inflation rate from fees, like what BTC is kind of already doing. Yet Vericoin can stay very low fee for the users processing transactions, and this is how they can. This is one of the ways they can economically benefit one another. But we made the fees exceptionally high, just to help discriminate the technologies in the early phase. And I think for two reasons, we've gotten to the point where it makes sense to have lower fees on Varium. One is we have more miners that are getting smaller rewards using single board computers, which ended up being like a really great feature of this mining algorithm. And we don't want them to have coins locked up in rewards that are smaller than the fee, obviously. And then also we're approaching the inflation cut of Varium, which is a significant inflation rate cut. It's going to coincide with the supply reaching 29 million or 2.9 million Varium. And once this happens, inevitably the fees are going to be smaller for everyone. So again, we don't want this fee problem to be exorbitant. And then so there was some complexity in the way that the fees could be designed. HT4R and I were talking about it, and he's sort of our literally